started making quite a lot of money fairly quickly. Then I basically got into drugs. Combined with the drug addiction, I expanded the company too quick, so the overheads were quite high. Everything kind of came crashing down. Then I started learning about trading. It's just purely trial and error. You have to lose money trading to be able to make money, because then you have to look at what mistakes you've made. So ultimately you don't make the same mistakes again. It's just kind of a consistency game. You just have to be consistent, and with time you will be profitable. So I grew up in North London. There's not really much to do in London. Everyone just goes out on the weekends, gets drunk, the weather's not that great. Finished school at 14, worked in my mum's factory for a bit. So then I was looking for a job again. So I went into IT recruitment in the city, and I got sacked after 1 month. I was quite good at it, but when I start somewhere, if I'm working with someone else, I just don't have a passion. One of my old bosses said when I was younger, I've got one eye on their business and one eye on doing my own thing. So I set up a property recruitment company called JR Recruitment, and I contacted my first boss it's called Anthony Pepe. The guy's name's Charlie, super cool guy. I still speak to him to this day. I didn't really know much about recruitment. So I basically said, how much the other recruitment agents is charging you? Have you got a job description? And I was kind of like qualifying him to find out the information, and managed to place three people in the first month. Grew over a year and a half, grew the company to 7 staff, got a small office building with 3 floors, started making quite a lot of money fairly quickly. Then I basically got into drugs in terms of taking drugs. And then I used to go into the office in the mornings to work for a couple of hours, pick up coke, then go to the pub, spend the rest of the day and night in the pub. Combined with the drug addiction, I expanded the company too quick, so the overheads were quite high. Plus with Brexit, everything kind of came crashing down. Then eventually I got into crypto, mainly for payments, because I was living in between Thailand, Cyprus and the UK, kind of 3 months. In crypto, especially in investing, is you need to stick at it for a while, because whenever you come into investing, and especially in crypto, you don't really know what you're doing. You might get lucky, you might make some money, but you really need to understand it. To understand it, you need experience. When I actually got into trading, I saw a post on Instagram, and I thought, all right, this looks good. Let's try it. I went into the group, the person's group who it was at the time, and I thought if they can do it, I can definitely do it. So then I started learning about trading. And I think the most important thing, test out a bunch of strategies, see which one works for you, but then stick at that one strategy. The longer you stick at it, the more that you learn, and then you can just look at the charts, you can find a trade, you can open it, you can make money, you learn how to manage risks, you can learn how to manage emotions, and it's just kind of a consistency game. You just have to be consistent, and with time, you will be profitable. So I originally started Forex trading, roughly I think 2022, and it's just kind of a trial and error. So I watched loads of videos, I tried different strategies, I tried to understand like the candlesticks, patterns, the markets, like fundamental technical analysis, and it's just purely trial and error. You have to lose money trading to be able to make money, because then you have to look at what mistakes you've made, so ultimately you don't make the same mistakes again. So when I came into Forex, I was focusing on trading side of things for Forex. Crypto was purely just kind of payments, moving money around, understanding it a bit and bits like that. But it's annoying because I didn't actually invest in crypto too early. When I came in, I think Bitcoin was roughly $4,000, Ethereum was a couple of $100, XRP was like 4p, and I was kind of learning about it, using it for payments, playing around with it, but not really taking it too seriously in terms of the trading side or fully like the investing side. Back in 2024, I actually launched my own coin as well. It was a few months after Pump Fund. It was so easy for everyone to make coins. You can literally just deploy the contract and then people can buy it. We raised around $80,000 just from my community, and then we launched the coin. I basically thought the liquidity pool had been hacked, because when I saw the sales coming in, they were people that hadn't bought the coin. And I understood crypto quite well, but I didn't understand about coins, and there's so many different aspects. So I thought for some reason the liquidity pool had been hacked, but it wasn't. It was the people that bought the tokens on Pink Sell that could then sell. I basically accidentally ran it up to 2.4 million. It all deployed on Pink Sell. So it went up to 2.4 million, then it dropped all the way back down to, I think, 1.4 million, and then it dropped back down to like 800K. Bear in mind, the people that had bought, their allocation was at a 200K market cap. So people had done like a 10, 15, 20X. So all of this is on Pink Sell as well. So a lot of people made money. Obviously the people that were still holding at the end lost money. But in terms of the first project, it was kind of a brilliant test. But in hindsight, I should have maybe done some more research. We had market makers, should have got some market makers on board to actually control price action to take it up. So I've been trading now for roughly about 6 years, but properly probably for about 4 years. And it's like a mixture of like smart money concepts. Just in a nutshell is is, say if you have a green order block on the 1 hour or a red order block, basically the red would be where there's sells, the green would be where there's buys. If you basically open the a long, obviously just above once it hits the green box, and then the stop loss just slightly below, the chance of it going up and that trade winning is like 90%. It mainly works, is best on the 1 hour chart. It's very, very simple, like it's easy to obviously show on a computer, but this is kind of like the main strategy. I'll also look at the RSI. Whenever I go and open a trade, the first thing I'll do is go onto the daily chart, look at kind of my thesis where I think it's going to go for the day. Then I'll drop down to the 4 hour, then I'll drop down to the 1 hour, then I'll drop down to like 30 minutes, 15 minutes, 5 minutes, 1 minute if I'm scalping. If it's more of a day trade, like over a couple of hours or something, then I'll probably stick to like 30 minute or 15 minute. Yeah, and then basically on the 1 hour. So we originally moved to a couple of places. We were traveling went to Mexico for 2 months, went to Canada for 4 months, then we moved back to the UK for a month, and then we decided to move to Spain. We moved to Porto Banús. So then we decided to move to Dubai. Now, I wasn't a fan of Dubai. Honestly, it's like the best place to live. I mean, nowhere's perfect. Dubai has its faults. I think it's mainly like convenience, banking system, especially in crypto. You can cash out crypto. So I don't actually keep any money in the bank. So I keep a couple of $1,000 in the bank just for like odd bills and bits like that. The problem is I'm paid in crypto. So there are certain ways that you can put it through to the bank. I just need to work it out with the accountant and stuff, but to date, I've done everything in crypto. I pay a lot of my bills in crypto unless it's like actual utilities you have to pay, like with a local card, and then I'll just cash out crypto and put money in the bank and stuff. I suppose it's annoying in certain things in terms of I don't do any finance. Obviously, I can't get credit cards, mortgages, or anything like that. So it's annoying in terms of good debt. If you want to invest in property, you want to get a mortgage, and then you want to kind of flip that and start building a portfolio. It's slightly annoying on that side of things. Another way you can do it is just buy the property in cash and then refinance at a later date. That I'll probably do this year. But it is annoying on certain aspects because you can literally have millions of dollars sitting in crypto, and then you want to get something of finance for a few $100,000 in terms of good debt to then rent out, i.e. property. But they don't care. You just need a salary certificate. You have to have everything by the book. So someone who's working a job where they're making £2,000 or £3,000 a month could get a property, whereas someone who's got a couple of £1 million in assets can't. So but I understand why they do it. It's a tick box system. It's like most countries. I literally take every day as it comes. So I'll focus today. I'll do the small wins today. I'll be successful today, and when tomorrow comes, I'll do the same again. And if you get all of the small wins, the bigger wins over a period of time are all going to add up. So I think a lot of people, they're planning the future. They're planning 6 months, a year, and 2 years. You might be dead in a couple of years. You might be dead next week. You don't know, right? So I think if you just focus on today and be very successful today and tomorrow, and in the short term, whatever you want to do, you're always going to go over and like above and beyond to be able to achieve that anyway. So I don't really focus too far in the future, because like looking at, say if I was like 25, I'm like 34 now. Say if I was like 25 and it's like, where do you want to be? It's kind of like, maybe I'm already there where I'm at right now, but now I want to be so much further, but I'm not focusing on it or thinking about it. I'm just going to get there, and wherever I get there, kind of, yeah, whatever comes will come.